Howdy!
Howdy!
Welcome to the Fortean Slip.
Did I ever tell you about the time I dressed up as Minnie Pearl for high school?
No, and don't.
Well, just the way you opened the show, I figured that.
No. What fucking episode are we on?
I think 53, man.
I'm gonna go with 53. If I'm wrong,
Sure.
I will edit. Not my voice in post, but it'll be noted.
We have post-production.
What's that?
We have post-production?
We have something.
Oh, okay.
I take care of all the production.
Yes, you do.
This is episode 53. It's the Great Pumpkin, Steve Alcorn.
I like that. That's good, man. You just pulled that right off the top of your head, didn't you?
Pulled that one right out of my ass.
Yep, I like it.
Yeah, I think last year we did our own Halloween memories and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
We talked a little bit about Halloween. Obviously it's not Halloween yet. It's on Friday. But it's coming up. I know my kids are getting their costumes together and getting ready to go out and bang on doors. So, but
going to get candy from strangers.
right, and I did when we did the urban legends episode. Did we talk about? I was trying to think about that earlier today too. Did we talk about?
I don't recall.
The candy scare.
I don't think we did. I don't recall doing that, but
Okay.
I have bad memory, so who knows?
But this year we wanted to talk about just the traditions in general and kind of the bullshit behind the holiday. And give people an overall rundown, I guess you could say.
Very educational, informative.
It's an educational show. Today,
Fortean Slip.
we're going to show you how to insert your penis. Oh, wait, no, that's the other show.
That's the other show. We haven't told anybody about that one yet.
Yeah, it's coming.
It is coming.
Yeah, all over her face. But,
Oh, we just lost a couple loyal listeners, I think.
I don't give a fuck. If you can't hack it, turn it off.
Right.
But yeah, I always thought it was funny. I grew up in a very Christian family, and
Same here.
like Halloween was huge. Like every family in my family was big into Halloween. And I always just thought it was funny, especially when I got older and, you know, of course you realize where things came from, or you do a little digging, which you've always been good at, Steve. And,
Yeah.
unless it's looking up stuff for the show, and then
No, then I suck.
then it's, you know, it's a crapshoot. I could roll the dice.
I did my homework this week.
I know you did.
Just like you asked me to.
I know you did.
5 minutes before the show,
Yeah.
I looked up and found the information you asked.
I know. It was as little fucking
Actually-
effort as you could put into it.
No, that's not true. I actually did it. On Friday evening.
Yeah, I remember we talked
So,
about it last
and then
week.
I just re-found it today.
Right. But the whole tradition of Halloween actually comes from the Celtic festival. There's two different pronunciations, I guess, for the festival. It's the festival of the end of summer, or what some people call the pagan New Year.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's either called Samhain or Samhain. And in the old tradition, they would, you know, dress up like spirits because they were trying to fool the spirits.
Right.
In the passing into the new year, because they thought that during the passing into the new year that the veil between the living and the dead was really thin, so the dead were among the living, so they wanted to make sure that they weren't going to have to deal with that, so they would fool them with this, you know, clever ruse.
In other words, they would dress up so that they would blend in with the spirit world.
With the spirit
pretty
world,
much.
yes.
Pretty much.
Supposedly. Yeah. And of course, that other things get adopted into that. The Roman Festival of the Dead, the All Souls Day, so on and so forth, get wrapped up into this.
Mm-hmm.
And and then I guess somewhere around the Middle Ages was where the whole like trick or treating thing, the that whole tradition started. And I was talking with someone recently. I don't like to bring his name up on this show.
Okay,
I refer to him now as Bob.
Bob.
Yes. Phil Poling.
Captain Obvious. Oh, sorry, I'm not supposed to say that.
Captain Obvious. I didn't say it.
It's a little joke. I was talking to Phil the other day. It's no big deal.
No, but I was talking with Bob, and we were talking about the tradition of trick or treating, and the whole like trick or treating thing went insane in the early 1900s in America, because it just became outright fucking vandalism.
Oh yeah,
like they were that and that's where like
give me candy, bitch.
Right, give me candy.
Or
But
else
like,
I'm gonna fuck
but the
your
whole
house.
candy thing went out the fucking window.
Right.
It was just vandalism, I guess. But it was I guess it got pretty crazy, and I can remember there were kids still in the 80s when I was young who would destroy houses. They would pick a house every year.
Yeah, that happened around here too. I haven't seen it in recent years.
Yeah, I haven't heard of anything in recent years nearly as much, but I can remember even back then, it was insane. Like, there would just be mobs of kids. I mean, now you see kids, they go out with their parents. There's like an organized group. You don't see a lot of it like it used to. It used to just be kids.
Used to be.
Yeah, just fucking piles and mounds and fucking kids down the street. It was insane. And I knew, some teenage kids that every fucking year, man. Oh, and it was brutal. But and I, like I said, I found it kind of interesting that coming from a predominantly Christian family, this pagan tradition, which was adopted into, I wouldn't so much say the Christian, well, kind of the Christian faith.
I think they tried to.
Yeah,
What they call
but
it, All
they
Hallows Eve or something.
Yeah, but they were all so into it, but yet they were against like all of this the fucking witchcraft and horror movies and horror books. Like I remember one time I was reading a Stephen King book, and my aunt looked at me and told me I was going to hell.
Oh, of course. If you're reading Stephen King.
Yeah, I mean, there is nothing that will get you a one-way ticket to the fucking gates of hell than reading a Stephen King book.
Stephen King is the gatekeeper of hell.
Yeah, he's Satan incarnate.
Well, I was told watching The Simpsons would send me to hell, so.
Yeah. It's just, it's just plain ignorance. But, I mean, a lot of people don't know that it came from a pagan tradition. It's not something that was, that was always, this way.
Right.
It came from somewhere else. It was adopted into the tradition that we now know it as.
Right.
This is another one. This one and Easter. Where I'm just like, what?
Well, even Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas too. Don't even get me started on fucking Christmas.
Yeah. Well, I think we did a show on that last year.
People off left and right. We start talking about Christmas. Fucking But what do bunnies and fucking eggs have to do with the fucking crucifixion and the resurrection? Like, I have no fucking
They don't,
idea.
but bunnies and eggs are symbols of fertility or something of that nature.
Right, because it's a fucking
Right.
pagan holiday.
Right.
So, yeah, and like I said, I always found that interesting, and it was the last show that we did. We did on the witchcraft shit, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah, and it's just once I started looking into things and seeing, connecting all the dots and seeing where everything came together, I was like, oh, Jesus, man, look at the fucking big blanket that was over my eyes.
Yeah.
But and then speaking, going down the road of trick or treating and all this shit, come to the 80s, and I can remember this as a child, the big candy poisoning scare. And I remember my mother and my aunts going over the candy and looking for puncture marks. And we weren't allowed to eat anything that they deemed, not okay.
Now, I'm convinced that when my parents went over the candy to look for puncture marks, they were really stealing all the Reese's peanut butter cups.
Dude, I so raid my kids' candy.
Every time, man, I'm telling you, every time.
Have you ever seen my
Reese's peanut
9-year-old
butter cups.
daughter on fucking candy? I raid that fucking candy bag, man. Let me fucking tell you. Holy shit. You know that
Yeah,
that
turns
guy
out that my mother's favorite candy is Reese's peanut butter cups.
and
Coincidentally, those are the things that were always, tainted.
missing.
Yes.
Or missing. You of course know the Micro Machine guy.
I do?
Yeah, that's what my daughter sounds like. You give her fucking candy,
Oh, yeah.
and she doesn't shut up.
Oh, yeah. Was he like the fast talker or something?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Blah, 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 blah. Holy fuck.
Well, he actually said words.
Yeah.
But
Not like what I did. But yeah, so, and as we know, like that whole candy scare was just another media scare.
bullshit. I mean, this is the research I actually did. It actually started in the 70s, the early 70s. And there was a kid named Timothy O'Brien, and he got a pixie stick that had cyanide in it. And of course, the story got all blown out of proportion, because it was during trick-or-treating and shit. But it turns out his dad did it, because he took a life insurance policy out on the kids. And,
Jesus Christ, man.
yeah, his dad actually did it. $60,000 life insurance on 2 children. The one, I guess, didn't die. But, yeah.
Oh, man.
That was where the big candy scare came from. I don't know where I couldn't find the razor blade one, but my sister claimed that she got a razor blade in her apple. But of course, when I speak to my mother, this was back in the 70s when we were little kids, but and it was right after that. It was probably about 75, 76 when that happened, when my sister said it. But so it would have been right after that Timothy O'Brien kid. So, but the candy scare's been around since then.
Yeah.
And then there was another one. Let's see where I can find it. My skills aren't up to par tonight.
Your lovely investigative skills.
It was before that. Before that, in 1970, there was a case of tampered candy, but that one was a kid from Detroit who ate a large amount of heroin, but his uncle had hid it in the candy. So there's no real cases of strangers giving out candy except for one that I found, and that was Snickers bars. And you and I talked about this before the show, and we want to go to this guy's house. But
I
this
do.
dude worked for the yeah. Well, we want to go for different reasons, but yeah. This dude worked at the post office, and he worked in the dead letter office. So that means, the place where mail that's undeliverable goes, doesn't have an address on it, whatever.
Right.
And he found a bag of Snickers in a lost package, and then he thought, it was around Halloween time, so why not give them out to the kids, Well, it turns out the Snickers were actually dummy wrappers, and they were full of marijuana. but it wasn't an intentional thing. So it was somebody was trying to smuggle
No, it
pots
wasn't
with mail,
intentional.
is what it was.
Steve, it was a treat.
No, it was a treat, all right. But it was a good treat too, and I'm surprised that the parents even turned that one in. But
Jesus, yeah, and yeah, no real cases of any. I mean, and I'm sure if you look hard enough, there's probably something out there of somebody doing something. But nothing.
It does say that there were some razor blades and needles, but there's like under 100 cases of that, and that includes pranks and hoaxes. In other words, somebody doing it to their friend or whatever.
Right.
So
it just the media blowing this shit out of proportion, which now that I'm older and I see it, back when I was a kid, I was like, oh, I was fucking scared, man. I can remember being scared. I can remember buying into all that fucking culture of fear bullshit. Everything.
Right.
Hook, line, and fucking sinker.
Well, and it didn't happen. In fact, there was no confirmed cases of actually a stranger putting anything in candy at all until the year 2000. And then some guy named James Smith did it. He stuck some needles into some Snickers bars. Snickers bars again. I like the other Snickers bars better, so.
People like,
but he did it as a prank. He thought it was funny. So.
It's a hoot.
Well, some 49-year-olds aren't very smart, man.
It's fucking just a good old time.
There was one kid who claimed there was rat poison on his Easter candy. Apparently, what really happened is there was really rat poison, not his Easter candy. Did I say Easter candy?
You did say Easter candy. What the fuck is wrong with you? Some investigative reporter you are.
Halloween candy. The kid claimed he went to his mom, and he was a real young kid, I guess. He went to his mom and said, "Hey, there's rat poison on my candy." And
mom was like, "Yeah, I was trying to fucking get rid of you."
They had it tested, and sure enough, there was rat poison on it. It was Halloween candy, but for some reason, the kid put it on there himself, and he didn't like the candy apparently, and he didn't want to eat it, so he put rat poison on there and told his mom that somebody gave him rat poison on his Easter or on his Halloween candy. So wow. Those are all the actual confirmed case. I mean, there's probably a few more, but nothing from strangers except for that one with the needles in the Snickers bars, and that was in the year 2000. So way back in the 70s, they started. Actually, probably even earlier than that, but way back in the 70s, because I remember seeing at school these little films they used to show you. You remember those stupid little films they used to show you at school, safety films and shit?
Fuck.
And I remember seeing one on safe Halloween candy and all that bullshit. Have your parents inspect the candy. And look, yeah, because my parents know what they're looking for, right? Because they're trained. They're trained to eat my Reese's peanut butter cups. I'm still bitter about that.
Fucking those safety videos were the worst.
Yeah, I found one on YouTube the other day.
So bad.
Oh, this one on YouTube the other day I watched, and it was partly about the unsafe candy, but the other part was about safe costumes.
You know who does great like PSAs that you will never ever forget?
Who's that?
Canadians.
Oh, I'll have to look up some Canadian.
Dude, if you have ever, there's like they did some like weird PSAs where like the advertise, it was like a TV commercial, and like this woman like is walking through the kitchen and like spills like boiling hot water on herself and is screaming and writhing in pain. Like they do not fuck around in Canada. That's like with the cigarette packs. Like it says on the cigarette packs, cigarettes will kill you. This is poison.
Truth in advertising, right? I seen one the other day. I can't remember. It was for, and it wasn't a commercial, or it wasn't a public service announcement from around here. But it was It was funny, but it was kind of weird. But these kids were skipping school, and they went out. They were having a good time out on the beach and shit. And then all of a sudden, they started all blowing up. What happened was they wandered into this military base and they fucking had landmines. And
don't wander onto a minefield.
Basically, the thing, it was an
minefields and you.
showing the kids in the cars having sex and everything, and then all of a sudden they all start blowing up. It was
If
great,
you and
man.
your friends find yourself on the beach.
And here's the funny thing: it's a current one. This wasn't one of
Oh,
some old
man.
thing.
That's
It was the
fucking
greatest thing ever.
horrible.
It was
But
great.
yeah, I mean, that whole culture of fear, man, they got you.
Yeah.
I mean, well, they got a lot of people anyway. They know
So
how.
yeah, I wanted to talk about that one that I saw though the other day, and if I remember correctly, it's one of the ones they showed us in school, and it had talked about the having your parents check out the candy and shit, but then they had this safe Halloween costume segment, and the little girl wanted to dress up like a witch, and so she has her witch costume on, and then they show her trick or treating, and of course witch costumes are black, so you can't wear that.
And then of course her
So
mother's like, "Honey, you don't need to dress up."
they showed her almost getting hit by a car and shit. It was great. And then but anyway, it ended up that she dressed up as a white witch, and she didn't look like a witch at all. So it's like, what the fuck? That kid wants to be a witch, let him go get hit by a fucking car. I don't care.
No, it comes down to people being fucking cognizant. I mean, Halloween's gonna fucking happen, and people who are out driving should be just as cognizant of the people who are out walking around.
Right, absolutely.
And
People know.
I live in Maine, and it's fucking hunting up here is huge. I mean, I don't know how it is around where you're at.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man.
Fucking huge. And the one thing that pisses me off more than anything else is the fact that people get shot wearing orange still.
Yeah. Oh, it happens here every year, and
Fuck
it's usually,
it.
like a couple years ago, a guy shot his son.
Yeah.
I mean, you're hunting with this guy, you know.
It fucking just. I can't. There was one time out here, somebody hit a school bus. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, my buddies were driving down the road one day, little Ford Ranger pickup, and all of a sudden, it was hunting season, but they were working that day, but they're in construction, so they drive from job site to job site or whatever, All of a sudden, a fucking bullet comes in right behind their backs. It went right behind the cab of the truck, right through the bed, all the way out. And if they had been like half a millisecond earlier, they'd have both been killed.
Yeah.
And it was a public road. It wasn't like some back alley
People,
place.
it scares the shit out of me. It really does. But I'm not one of those people that will put on orange, because I'm a firm believer. If you fucking shoot me, no matter what, if I'm not dead, I will come after you for everything, because there is no reason why you should have shot me.
No.
None.
And that's why there's laws and rules in place, and I don't mind people going out hunting. I don't do it myself, but I'll never speak out against it, because it's.
But like I was saying, it comes back to that whole
tables.
people need to be cognizant and need to be aware.
Yeah, but they're not.
And
That's the problem.
they're not, and you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
But it goes
and
back to
worse
that
than
whole
Halloween.
thing of paying attention to kids being on the road during Halloween.
Right. Worse than Halloween, you're sending some pretty, rough
Drunk
people,
motherfuckers out in the woods with guns.
hillbilly sons of bitches out in the woods with guns, and
I can tell you without question, more than 60% of the people that I know that hunt go out and do it fucking buzzed.
Now, the ones that I know that hunt take it very seriously and are very cautious when they're out there, and they know where the other guys are if they go out in a group. But it doesn't mean everybody does it that way.
Exactly. Oh, I know people that go out and they're very safety conscious. They're not, doing anything wrong. But I know people that are out there just.
Oh, by the way, speaking of hunting, I'm sending my son out in the woods with a gun this year. That should turn out. I don't see any problems there.
Steve, don't do that.
I am though.
Don't do
No,
that.
he'll be with my brother-in-law, who is very safety conscious, and nothing wrong will happen. Trust me.
Yeah, I went out with my dad once. I think I was like 6 or 7 years old. I was really young. I'll never forget it because he strapped a friggin' gun onto me. The shit,
Here, son.
dude, the shit
Go out in
my
the
father
woods and
did when I
shoot.
was young. Dude, oh my god, he would hand me stuff, and then like I think about it now, and I'm like, would I give that to my son at that age? Nope, nope, nope.
It depends on the age. It also depends on the child too. You know, and that goes for trick or treating. You don't send a child out, a 3-year-old, on their own. You know,
Oh yeah,
something bad probably
fucking.
will happen.
But
But that does happen around here. So
oh, dude, there's a section around here where you just see little kids just toddling down the road, and not like little kids,
you
like
don't even have to be
little kids. And
Yeah,
I'm just
I
like,
know
no
that happens
parents
here.
around, cars just whizzing by. There's this one section of town. I think I've called the police more times because I've had stuff thrown at my car driving through, and it happens to a lot of people. Like when I called in once, they're like, "Yeah, we know." I'm like, "Really?"
Yeah.
So we just, that's the answer. Yeah, we know.
I was driving down 149 16th Street, and somebody threw something at you.
Yeah,
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 somebody
yeah,
threw.
yeah. That's what it was. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. We're not gonna fix that, but yeah. Thanks for calling that in.
Yep. Nothing we can do. Have a good
So,
day, sir.
yeah, but hey, didn't you go to the fucking Bigfoot thing?
The Bigfoot thing,
The
yes.
Bigfoot thing.
Chautauqua
It's a Bigfoot
Lake
thing.
Bigfoot Expo.
Don't fucking
It
try to
was
make it all
they held
fucking
in.
funky and neat. It was a Bigfoot
Yeah,
thing.
it's actually a different kind of Bigfoot conference. So you don't have all your big name researchers there. The speakers. Steve Calls was one of the speakers, but it was more of
Tactical
an
boy.
open forum for like. Oh, he got a chuckle out of that, by the way, Chris.
Good. I've been waiting to fucking tell that son of a bitch.
So last night, anyway, after the conference, I'm hanging out with Steve Calls in his cabin. We went out to lunch, or went out to supper, and then we went back to his cabin. It was just me and him, basically. His girlfriend went to bed. Chris York messages me. What was that message? Something about when the fuck is he going to stop wearing the tactical
I
gear?
said, tell
or something?
Tactical Boy. I said to tone it down on the knives or some shit like that.
And then he responded, never, of course, Steve did. And then Chris says, well, just once I'd like to see him on TV in jeans and a T-shirt. And then Calls says he tried that once, but then he might be mistaken for somebody from Maine, and he didn't want that to happen. So
Yeah. Which, by the
Chris
way,
is from Maine.
is a horrible comeback, Mr. Culls.
Well,
and
he,
I would
he said Kentucky originally, but
I would
then
wipe
it's
the
moved.
floor from you in a fucking battle of wits like that.
But anyway, it was a good time. Like I said, it's a different kind of Bigfoot conference. It's more like a open house, I would say. They had a
Right.
town hall type meeting there. It's not something that attracts Bigfoot researchers. It attracts Bigfoot witnesses, and it also attracts people in the community who want to learn a little bit more about Bigfoot. So it's more of a relaxed setting instead of all your Bigfoot researchers, bullshitting and stuff. But it was a good time, and I got a new appreciation for Mr. Calls. I stayed out with him till 2:30 in the morning, just talking, and it was good stuff. So, also Rick Spearman, I wanted to say hi to Rick Spearman. I know he listens to the show on occasion, and he was there with, I don't know if that was his girlfriend or what, but she was a nice lady, and she friended me on Facebook today. So, picked up a few new friends from it. So it was a good time.
Cool.
I enjoyed every minute of it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how into that aspect of shit I am right now, but
Well, hey, it was, like I said, it was different than your normal Bigfoot conference.
I'll tell you this, and being a part of this whole thing, we've for a long time, a lot of us have talked to people through the internet, keeping these communities together, talking, and you do make friendships, albeit a lot of times they're very weird friendships. and
Sometimes,
and
absolutely.
and then you go out and meet these people. Like, and I've done this on a few occasions now, where I've gone out. Of course, I was out at the Bigfoot Museum for when the
Hmm.
Finding Bigfoot cast was out there, and um, I just went out to the Brown property and met up with everybody out there. Jeff and David at the Squatchers Lounge podcast guys, and
That show thing that they do.
and Bob.
Bob.
He who shall not be named. That's what I'm fucking calling from now. Bob. I refuse to fucking say your name, PP.
Bob.
Or I'll call you PP. It'll be Bob or PP.
PP Bob.
But yeah, it was a really good time meeting up with everybody out there, and but yeah, it's oh god, it can get fucking crazy though. Like
It can.
that first night that we were all sitting around the campfire. Oh my god. Holy shit, dude. I got a
Well,
got a
you
good
know,
buzz on,
like,
we were all having fun. We were fucking just like back and forth. Oh, it was good. It's just so yeah, I can
well, you
understand
get
how
a new
you
appreciation for you get a new appreciation for the people that you've been maybe spoke to on the phone or over Facebook or whatnot, because
well,
then you
and you
actually
also
meet these people.
right, and you also know whether or not you're going to like these people right off the bat.
Right.
Like you can
And
tell.
sometimes that, turns the wrong way.
It can turn the wrong way.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, we had I had a good time with that. So I mean, I can understand how you could wind up talking to somebody like Steve Culls and be there fucking just talking about this shit because it's
Till
some
2:30.
yeah.
Man.
Well, hey, it's something that we're all passionate about. Like I can remember
Well,
for a long
yeah.
time, you and I and a few other people, late nights looking at fucking photographs, fucking videos. It's something.
General bullshittery sessions.
Yeah, and sort of what spawned doing this
Right.
was that passion that we had for just looking into that shit. And I find it kind of funny because you and I both now that we're kind of that all this time has passed. That's what started the show, and now you and I
Right.
aren't really as much into the other shit.
No, and that's funny.
It's fucking kind of hilarious.
What was that? The Virginia Slims commercial? You've come a long way, baby.
You've come a long way, baby.
Well, that's how I feel about it, though. Look where we were 2 years ago, when we
I used to
probably
steal
about
my
the time
aunt's
we first
Virginia
met.
Slims.
I tried to smoke them one time because they were on discount. Those fucking little tiny, skinny things.
Oh
Like,
God.
yeah, it takes 2 seconds to smoke one. But anyway, so yeah, we started out just as friends. We were part of a group that no longer exists, but it turns out after time that interests change or friends change, and you kind of settle into a certain groove, and I think we're in that groove now, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, but but back in the day, we'd fucking pour over shit. Like I said,
For hours, man.
photograph. We'd sit there and be like, "All right, do you see this? What about this spot right here? What about this? Jesus Christ, what is it?" That goddamn fucking that
Until one
photograph that
particular
fucking
photograph.
I'm sorry. That photograph that Pee got fucking sued over.
Beep, beep.
I can remember nights.
Oh my God, we spent hours.
Just is that a light switch in the background? I
Yeah.
mean, just fucking we poured over that son of a bitch.
Oh, for hours, and had some really good, people on it. Sally, I remember Sally Petrie was involved in that. Sally's having some health issues now, so we had to keep her in our minds and whatnot. But she was very good at it, and she came up with a lot of stuff on that. But I wasn't convinced that was the Claude costume until just recently. I knew that it wasn't what it was purported to be, but I wasn't convinced. But now I am. So I also talked to Steve Culls a little bit about the Sioux last night. So kind of on a different page with that, but we'll talk about that off the air.
Uh, but
Off
yes.
the air.
So yeah, I don't know where I'm at with all of that. I still have all of my passions for it, but I've taken a wicked step back.
Oh, so have I, man.
Just I mean, it's just not even. It's one of those things where if you let it, it will fucking engross everything that you're thinking about.
A lot of people will remember back to a time where I was really into busting the Rick Dyer hoax, you know?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And oh my God. But here's the thing. I would spend 24 fucking 7 trying to get this guy. And it got to be too much. And that's when I first started stepping back. And I was like, good thing, man. Of
Well,
course,
yeah,
last night, he busted the original 2008 hoax. So obviously him and I are going to talk a lot about that. So kind of rehashing some things, but it was good. It was good to talk to somebody else who's kind of been through and knows exactly what you're talking about. So
yeah, and as long as, like I said, once you know, hey, I know I'm gonna like this person, I can
right.
definitely spend some time hanging out, shooting the shit. You're gonna have a good time, and you're definitely gonna have shit to talk about.
Maybe me and you should never meet then.
Yeah, no, that would be bad. That would
No,
just,
I think it would be a good time,
nah, it'd
man.
just
I
be
think
bad. Just be awful.
bad,
Just
bad
awful
in
on
a good
all
way, right?
levels. Awful. I'd like to try and plan something this year, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think we've
th-
talked a little bit about it.
yeah,
So
and I think I was actually gonna try and plan for tonight, but I didn't because of the way things worked out. But I know you and I have talked about we want to do some live shows in the
yeah, I think
future.
we're planning on taking this particular show in some different directions. So I think it'll all be good in the end.
Yeah, I want to do some live shit, and if in fact that, like I said, if there's some type of a convention that you and I could hit, especially
Oh, that'd
not
be sweet, man.
necessarily like a Bigfoot convention, like I was
No, it can
telling
be
you,
anything.
like UFO or some bullshit, something that you don't have to drive that far, I don't have to drive that far, because I mean, logistically, you and I aren't all that far apart.
Nah.
And if we found some place, somewhere around the middle, that there was something going on, that could be a fucking interesting time. And I would definitely
Yeah, I think it'd be
consider broadcasting live from an event like
live.
that, even if we had to do it, outside of the event or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, that could be a good time because God knows I love a good fucking joke. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
think it'll happen, man. It'll happen.
I'm hoping that something will come up this year that we can say, yeah, let's fucking do it. It'll be fun. It'd be a good time.
Yeah. I am going to try to make it to the Ohio Bigfoot Conference this year.
That's
So
one
if
I was
anybody's coming
kind
to
of
that,
thinking of, and I'm not sure. It's because that's in the other direction. Like
well, yeah,
that's not
it's because you
halfway,
got to go all the
Steve.
way around the Great
That's me
Lakes and shit.
going.
I didn't say you could go.
Well, no,
That's what I'm
I was
thinking about going.
considering that because you and I had
Yeah, I know
talked
you
about
were.
that too.
But that's probably at this point the only convention I'm considering until me and you maybe would figure something other out. But so,
Yeah, but well, this is all
and it's
kind
only
of
to
this.
meet people that I haven't got to meet yet. That's basically the only reason I go to these things. It's not for Bigfoot, or not for UFOs or whatever. It's to meet the people that I've been talking to on the internet all this time. That kind of thing. So
Yeah, and we've met a lot of really cool, interesting people.
yeah,
So it is what it is. But
and some rotten assholes too.
oh God,
No names,
Jesus.
no names, Chris.
Oh God. Oh, if I could tell you about my day to day.
You could, but
So I
uh,
told a guy.
you basically told somebody to go fuck themselves, right?
No, I told someone Bill Brock, not to fucking come anywhere near me. Like, literally, to just stay the fuck away from me. And
Okay. Fair enough.
I went to a comic book expo today, and of course he had a booth there, and I won't say what for because I'm not going to promote anything.
Everybody knows what Bill Brock does. Come on.
Well, anybody who knows the name.
The show or the thing that he does.
Shut up.
I won't say anymore.
And I avoided that motherfucker's table like the plague. Like, I was with my kid. I took my kid to the fucking comic book expo to, look through comics, check out the fucking weirdos in the costumes. My son had a good time taking pictures of people. Although he has to learn how to ask people to take a picture. He was really kind of rude sometimes. So I had to talk to him about that.
I wonder where he gets that from, Chris.
I'm actually, believe it or not, in person, I'm pretty damn polite.
All right.
And I am polite to people. I can be an asshole, yeah. But anywho, so I avoided that motherfucker's table like the plague. And he still fucking came up to me. And it's like,
Apparently, now, from what you told me, his intention was to tell you he was sorry, but you didn't.
I don't give a fuck. I've spoken to the son of a bitch. I don't know how many fucking times now, and told him I don't care.
You didn't want anything to do with it. First of all, because your son was there, and second of all, because you're just over it.
Yeah, I'm done.
Assuming. Yeah.
I'm done. But
and if anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, go back and listen to the show we did about Stacey Brown and all that stuff.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna fucking rehash it.
No.
But and therein lies the other half of the what we were just talking about, Steve. You meet some people who are fucking douchebags.
Right.
I had to turn around and tell him, get the fuck away from me. Not here. I have my son with me.
Right. No, he wasn't being forceful or anything.
No, but I was a complete
just approaching you at a time that you felt was inappropriate.
Yeah,
and it probably was because your
complete
child
asshole
was
about
you.
it because I did not want anything to fucking do with him, and I made sure that I said it nice and loud.
And I'm sure he got that message, and hopefully that ends it. You know what he intended on saying, and he knows your feelings. So, good enough.
Yep, you're sorry. Yeah. That's great.
Have
a nice life.
Yeah. Well, whether that's the case or not, but
yeah, enjoy.
Hopefully, it ends the whole situation.
So, in case I was unclear before, stay the fuck away from me. Thank you, Steve. Don't you have some news?
I do.
We've been going long on this show lately.
Yeah, but it's a good thing, I think.
Why not?
First news story tonight from Open Minds TV, openminds.tv. I thought they didn't do this anymore, but apparently the Air Force investigated a crashed UFO in the Arizona desert.
What?
Well, that's what it says. The U.S. Air Force officially does not investigate reports of UFOs, but a quote-unquote crashed UFO in the Arizona desert just outside of Phoenix, October 23rd, 2014, caused two F-16 fighter jets to scramble to that location for a closer look, according to the Mutual UFO Network, conducting a training boot camp there. The UFO actually was a model created for the boot camp for the use of training 25 field investigators who signed up. According to MUFON International Director David MacDonald, I like saying MacDonald. I don't know why. It's a good word. I just went off the deep end, Chris.
You're
right here
a fucking
on the show.
sick man. I've been saying it for a long time. You're fucking... you're disturbed.
MacDonald. It's spelled out M-A-C. The entire class and instructors had not yet assembled at the crash site, but STAR, or STAR, Team Deputy
Wow, is that
Director
what it spells?
STAR. Yes, it does. Anyway, yeah. Chuck Modlin and photo analyst Mark D'Antonio were at the site. They first noticed the private pilot coming by, or a private pilot coming by, MacDonald said. A glint of the UFO's
He
metallic
noticed
color
McDonald
probably
privates coming by, and
caught the pilot's eye. You could see the wings.
he said, "You can be my wingman anytime."
From the ground location, investigators realized the UFO model had been seen, but did not expect what happened next. About 20 minutes later, MacDonald said, two F-16s came over at a low pass, obviously checking out the crash site. Luke Air Force Base is nearby, so they suspected they were scrambled from there. We're also thinking the pilot at the private plane must have radioed this in. But the aerial observation was actually not over at that point. Another 20 minutes later, a sheriff's department helicopter came over and dropped down to about 50 feet over the crash saucer to get a good close look. MUFON management took the event humorously. If you think the federal government does not investigate UFOs, think twice, said Jan C. Harzen, MUFON's executive director. Imagine how the original report on our model would have been radioed in by the pilot. The Air Force did not hesitate. I don't think having two F-16s at our crash site was a coincidence. They were sent out to observe and report back on the situation. You know what I think, Chris?
What do you think?
They don't have enough UFO sightings, so they have to fucking create their own.
And why not?
Yeah, we had this crashed UFO in the desert, and the Air Force came out and looked at it. Sure, they did.
They got to do something.
From the BBC. Yeah, hey, whatever. From the BBC.com. A Siberian man has the march of technology to thank after fighting off a charging bear with a discarded computer, it has been reported. The encounter occurred at a rubbish dump. Rubbish dump? Oh, this is a UK blog. Should be a trash dump, right? In a village near Tomsk.
Those Russians, though, they'll fucking beat a bear with their fucking bare hands with a computer.
Well, then that's not their bare hands.
Oh, come on.
Anyway,
if you fucking got your hands wrapped around a fucking computer and you're beating a bear with a computer, you're pretty much using your bare hands.
So anyway, this dude was in the dump, and he was scavenging for stuff, and so was the bear, apparently. The Moscow Times reports that. The villager was searching for metals to sell and was charged by the animal, which was looking for, well, food. Local ranger Sergei Yelekov says the unnamed man threw the old computer, which was the first thing that came to his hands, causing the bear to flee. The villager hardly suffered at all. He injured his hand, though, when throwing the device at the bear. According to the RT television channel.
Oh, I was hoping for some heroic, like he beat the fucking Russian, just fucking beating the shit out of a bear. That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah. They say it's not unusual for hungry bears to come across human settlements when food is scarce. There's not enough food for bears as the year is lean. Some animals are so hungry that they are resorting to cannibalism. Now, see there, the story got interesting again, Chris. Bears killing bears.
Mad cow disease and bears?
4 bears exactly were killed by their own species that they know of this year. So earlier this year, a man was saved from a bear attack in the northeastern Sakha Republic thanks to his mobile phone. See? Beat him off of a mobile phone. The device actually switched itself on.
He pulled the Russell Crowe.
Which scared the bear away. Yeah.
Russell Crowe will fuck somebody up with a phone, Steve.
It wasn't that he was beating the bear with a phone. The phone accidentally turned on while he was being mauled by the bear, and it scared the bear away. So these Russians aren't, as you know.
Steve, you're not making this story exciting.
Well, I just did. No, I didn't. Well, here's an exciting story from the Huffington Post. Scientists have now pinpointed when humans first had sex with Neanderthals.
Wait a minute. No, scientists have pinpointed when Neanderthals held down a fucking human woman and raped her.
Probably. Scientists have long known that our human ancestors got down and dirty with the Neanderthals. There should have been some background.
Actually, Neanderthals had culture and shit. I bet you one of them motherfuckers probably tried to woo a woman or the other way around. There were probably some sly, non-speaking motherfuckers. They're just grunting and like waving their big dicks around. The fucking human women just couldn't fucking keep off it.
Once you go Neanderthal, you don't go.
Yeah, it's fucking exactly like that.
A study from the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology in Leipzig, Germany, offers a new answer. For the study, researchers sequenced the genome of a 45,000-year-old modern human male. Wow, that's an old guy. Using a femur bone that was, I think he was dead, though. Femur bone that was unearthed in 2008 near the small village of Ust-Ishim in western Siberia. I think I did that one really good. The genome sets the Ust-Ishim. The genome sets the record for being the oldest of a modern human ever sequenced, and the researchers were thrilled to find that it had fragments of Neanderthal DNA. This allowed them to estimate that the ancestors of the Ust-Ishim individual...
You sound like Uhura in Star Trek trying to speak fucking Klingon.
I'm doing my best to get better at pronouncing things. Anyway, it's about approximately 7,000 to 13,000 years before this individual lived, or about 50 to 60,000 years ago. Boy, that really narrows it down, doesn't it?
Hey. What do you want to fucking date in a time?
Yes.
They got busy on September 24th, 2000 BC.
Sorry. Oh, you got me there, Chris. Dr. Janet Kelso, an evolutionary geneticist at the Institute, who led a computer-based analysis of the genome, said in a written statement, which is close to the time of the major expansion of modern humans out of Africa and the Middle East. Previous studies suggested that interbreeding occurred anywhere from 37,000 to 86,000 years ago. The New York Times reported this new research significantly narrows the estimate. Sorry, my throat dried out right in the middle of that story.
Yeah. Whatever makes you sleep better at night there, investigative reporter.
Jane, get me a Snapple.
What does that mean?
That's the news, Chris.
This has been episode 53 of the Fortean Slip. It's the Great Pumpkin, Steve Alcorn.
My name is going to be up in lights, man. Right on the top. I like it.
Lights. Like us, subscribe, comment. Touch Steve in his special place if you run into him at a Bigfoot conference.
That would be the bottom of my big toe.
Yes. He's also like a dog. If you scratch him behind the ear, he kicks his leg.
I do, actually.
So I've heard.
Quite exciting. Keep it gay, Chris.